Okay, I've been asked by a few clients to answer some questions about how I got into golf, what my thoughts are on certain things in golf. So I hope you enjoy it. Reasonably short. If you've got any more questions you want me to answer, I'd happily do them. It's good to keep busy in these very uncertain and worrying times. How did I get into golf? Start with my mum, really. My mum had some lessons bought for her by my dad. She went for 3 or 4 lessons, didn't really enjoy it, didn't really have the time to play. So I think I had the last 2 lessons of her block, and I was just caught. I had a friend that played as well, and I just got into it. I think that was about 10 at the time. I maybe tried a little bit on holiday before then, but I got my first set of golf clubs when I was 11. My first handicap at 13, which was 23, and I turned pro 6 years later. So it was it evolved very quickly from my first handicap at 13 to turning pro at turning pro at 19. The lowest handicap I got to was +3. I turned pro off +2. I think I hit +2.6 for a day, so +3. But turned pro a couple of weeks later off +2. I think it was August 2002. So I'm coming up to 18 years being a professional. The lowest score I've shot is 62. That was on a par 69, so it was 7 under. As an amateur, I shot 63 around my home club, which was Bredsall Priory. It was a par 72 at the time, and shot 9 under there. And as a pro, I've shot quite a few 64s of 8 under. I get asked a little bit, how do I feel when I go under par? And you just keep going. I get to 5 under, and I think, right, I've got 5 holes left. I could still get to 10 under. It becomes a bit of a habit, just trying to make as many birdies as possible. It's a very strange mindset where you just go into autopilot and just go low. I think I probably messed up a few times as well. When I was younger, you get under par, 3-4 under par, and end up shooting level. But the more you're in that position, the easier it becomes to shoot a low number. The biggest event I've played in was the 2013 BMW PGA Championship on the European Tour. I was lucky enough the year before in 2012 to go through the PGA regions and go to the PGA playoffs in Turkey, where there was 10 spots for club pros to get into there, which is the European Tour's biggest event. So I played that 2013. Fantastic experience. It was quite a tiring experience. I probably played too many practice rounds, but just to be in the same tournament as all the Ryder Cup players that had won in Medina the year before, Poulter, Luke Donald, Westwood. It was just playing with idols that I'd grown up watching. It was always a goal of mine just to play one European Tour event. I always joke with my friend Stuart, who caddied for me, that when we're older, if you've played one event, you can sit in your rocking chair and be happy. But obviously, having the taste of one, you want to go back and try and play another one. So that would definitely be a goal. Players that I played with that you would know, it was great. I played a practice round with Nicholas Colsaerts, I think on the Tuesday, who again, he was in the Ryder Cup. So I played the back 9 at Wentworth with Colsaerts, and he was just a completely different ball flight. Just hit like 4 irons, the same height as my 8 iron, that was just going in, landing dead softly. And golf became really easy for someone like him to play, compared to me. I'm trying to hit 4 irons in, and I hit them in a head height, landing on the green and going. So I learned quite a lot from him. So yeah, definitely the BMW was the biggest event I've played in. Strength of my game. I'd like to say I've got, without sounding arrogant, I'd like to say almost everything's pretty good. I would say the one thing that probably outweighs anything is my putting. But that's not always been the case. As a kid growing up, I wouldn't say I was a very good putter. I was a streaky putter. I could be fantastic one day and missing everything from 3 or 4 feet the next. But definitely a turning point for me was 2008. I'd been seeing Phil Kenyon, who some of you might know. He teaches a lot of pros out on tour now. He was just up and coming as a coach at the time. And I worked really hard on my putting stroke 2008. I remember standing on the putting green in practice, and I had a training day. It was a true playing like a putting arc, and I think I hold 70 10-footers on the trot without missing one using this arc. And it was just a matter of ingraining the stroke, and my confidence just really just went this way. So definitely putting is a strong point. And I would also say my mind. I think I'm quite strong-minded and willed. I am the golf course. It can sometimes not be pretty out there, but I'll find a way of getting it round. I mean, I'm not proud. I'll happily get up and down and hole a lot of putts to shoot a good score. So, and I think you can learn from that as an amateur, that it's not always about. We joke, we say it's not how it looks, it's how many, and I think that's the case definitely when you're trying to make a living, and it's all about the lowest number you write on your scorecard. What's my plan going forward for golf and aspirations? I think obviously to keep getting better, and I think it's to play in some bigger events. Now, for me to do that, I need to qualify for them. So the Open is the one that's kind of eluded me. Playing a major championship would be fantastic. Missed out by a shot and getting the Open last year. So they're the sort of things that I'm looking to try and achieve. Yes, I would love to win the Midland Order of Merit. I would love to win the British Club Pros. 2 things. I finished 3rd in the Midland Order of Merit, and I finished 3rd in the British Club Pros. But I think to play a major championship would just be fantastic. So I think if I was to choose one, would be to play the Open. So that's what we're trying to push for. That's what we do the gym work for. We're just trying to get better, and I think that's something as a human is a great thing to have. Is whatever you do, whatever line of work you're in, if you can just try and get better, don't stand still, try and keep learning. And I think that's what can encourage you to get up in the morning and to kind of motivate yourself. Great question. What do my clients ask for when they come in? Consistency, I think, is the one. I want to be more consistent. Now, my answer to that is, when they come in with that, is what does more consistent look like to you, and how are we going to say whether that was a success or it wasn't a success? And I think that's dead important. You need something that's manageable. So whether that's right, at the minute you're hitting 2 fairways around, well, what's more consistent? Is it 5 fairways around? If that's the case, well, let's keep our stats and let's start to look at ways that we can improve that. But definitely the word consistency, and I probably chuckle to myself a little bit when people always want to be more consistent, but we have to find a way of saying whether that was a success or not. I've been at Morley Hayes for just over 16 years now. Started in 2004. I finished my training there. I did the last 2 years of my PGA training at Morley, and then came head professional in 2007 and set up East Midlands Golf Academy. So East Midlands Golf Academy has been going for 13 years now, and it's gone from myself on my own to adding a pro, Steve Astle, the same year, and we've now got seven pros there. 6 are teaching. So it's really grown. It's something that I'm very proud of, because you don't know how these things are going to develop, and we've got someone head of junior coaching, beginners coaching, ladies coaching. So I'm proud of all the guys and girls. We've got Natalie that works there as well. It's a great team, and something that after all this, obviously the lockdown's lifted, that we want to get back and push our clients to get better. And it's not just about teaching elite players. I think I get a lot of satisfaction out of teaching sort of beginners. Some of you'll know that I do disability coaching as well. That's really rewarding. So there's a lot of different aspects of the business, and we're always looking to grow that going forward. A part of the game that sort of the amateur needs to probably improve on the most is the short game. I think that gets overlooked a lot. Just getting up and down from the side of the green, whatever level you're at. If you can get it from, I don't know, 2 or 3 yards off the green, just play I do a lot of my short game stuff, just starting from some basic chip shots. Yeah, if you could put it, get your putter on it, and then we move it into playing some very little chip shots from the side of the green. So that's where I'd whether it's a scratch golfer or a 23 handicapper, look to get you little chip shots and we'll build it from there. But get up and down, learn to get up and down. And I think practicing, it's okay standing around a green with 50 balls and hitting the same chip shot, but learn. I do something called par 27. So if you've got a green, go and put 9 golf balls around the green. Okay, go and just drop them, don't place them, just drop them, so it depends on how they lie, and then practice getting up and down. So hit the chip shot, go and hit the putt. Okay, you make a 2, you're 1 under, so everyone's a par 3, so hence the par 27. 9 shots, par 3s. Go round, see what you score. Now if you get on the green and 2 putt every time, so you've scored 27, fine, but let's see if we can get 26 next time, or 25. That is now recreating sort of game-like practice, and not enough amateurs practice in that way. So definitely that's the one area. 1, practice your short game, but 2, practice your short game in a structured way that it kind of replicates the golf course. It's a real good question. It's something I get asked a lot. I would say growing up I changed golf coaches too often. I had a coach that got me down to scratch, and then I moved to Graham Walker at 17 and he got me down to +3, turned pro under Graham, and probably swung it the best I've ever swung it. And in that sort of 2-year period I swung it really well, but mentally I wasn't there. So I thought the answer had to be swap coaches. Went to Dennis Pugh, who you'll see on Sky Sports. I went to a few other different coaches, and then I've ended up going back to Graham. I went back to Graham in 2014, so 32, just over 5 years ago, and probably back to swinging it the best I've swung it. So there's definitely a journey, and I do look back and wonder if I'd stuck with the same team around me when I turned pro. Yes, it might have been a slightly slower journey to start with, but would I be more advanced now? And obviously we don't know the answer. So if I'm telling any young kids, get a team around you of people that you trust. It's not always going to be plain sailing. There are going to be some ups and downs in the road, but get people you trust around you and stick with them, and communicate well. I think that's dead important. So definitely that's what I'll be telling my young self, is just stick with one coach. And I think the fitness side, I've really pushed onto my fitness the last 2 or 3 years, and when I was younger it was there and I tried to do it, but again I would train through the winter, come out in this golf season, and if I didn't play very well in the first few events, before you know it, my fitness, I sacked it off. I was very fickle. I wanted immediate results. So again, these are the sort of lessons that you learn as you do get older. But definitely that's what I'd be tell my young self and tell the younger generation now. Kind of stickability is vital. I think golf is the kind of sport where it does really rack your brains and you do at times want to give up. I think, but if I look back over my career, where I've really wanted to jack it in, I go back to November 2006. I just competed at tour school at stage 2. I remember my mum being out there and she'd walk around with me, and I'm walking around a village somewhere in Jerez in Spain, and I just said, I can't do this anymore. This isn't for me. Travelling away from home. I had a job at Morley Hayes at the time. I'd been there. It just really wasn't for me. Sort of traipsing around, living out of a suitcase, struggling. It was probably a bit of a rubbish attitude, really. I probably needed to sort of man up a little bit. But at the time, it just really sort of grated on me. If I had a bad score, I just kind of really struggled with that. And it was a time in my life where a lot of things changed, and I suppose that next sort of 6 months was a massive, really pivotal, I would say, in my golfing career. In the February after that, I had my eyes lasered, and for a couple of months after that, I struggled just getting proper sight back. But then I really found a difference on the greens putting. Again, I swapped coaches in the March. I kind of was trying to work it on my own, so the last question kind of covered that. And I mentioned earlier that Steve Askell came to work for me. I set up East Midlands Golf Academy, and the day before I went to the British Club Pros 2007, so we're sort of 6 months after I really wanted to jack it in. We had a lesson together. I said, Steve, can you have a look at me? It was a Sunday afternoon. He never worked a Sunday. I never practiced on a Sunday, but we went and we tried to find something, and it was such a simple thought. And we came away from this one lesson, and my thought was swing it like Colin Montgomery, who hits a fade, and I always hit a snap hook as my bad shot. And we just decided, right, you're going to go and play the British Club Pros at Royal Porthcawl, and you're just going to try and swing it like Colin Montgomery. Now, people that know me will probably laugh, and that's kind of the sort of person I am. But I went and I went out and shot 3 under the first round, which leading up to that I couldn't hit whatever. I was terrible. So to shoot 3 under, had a couple of sort of mediocre rounds in the middle. I had a bad round, I think third round, and the last round I was lying 22nd. Went out, swung it like Monty, shot 4 under and came in and finished third. I waited for 2 hours in the clubhouse, and the rain came down, and I went from, I think when I came in, maybe 10th, and moved up to tied third, which still to date is my best finish in the British Club Pros, and it got me in the PGA Cup team to represent Great Britain and Ireland in America. So from that November, from wanting to give in, to having my eyes lasered, to having a golf lesson where I was going to swing it like Colin Montgomery. Steve and I still laugh about this, and that was real. That probably 2 hours probably changed my path, because I do wonder whether if I'd not achieved that in that tournament, at that time, very unexpected, really kind of came out of the blue, whether I'd still be wanting to compete at the level I do. So it just shows that when we do want to give up, we stick in there, and how again, if you talk to your young self or talk to some youngsters, it's worth sticking at things. So I do look back, definitely, and there's times where I want to give up. I have probably that little snippet for 10 minutes now, sometimes after a bad round, but I also know that I'm not that far from a good round. So anyone listening, when you do have a bad round, look, golf's that kind of sport where things kick in. So keep smiling with it, and I really do hope to see you all soon at Morley Hayes. Hope you're staying safe and healthy, and all your family and friends are.